Graveyard of cars. All that old twisted metal. Used to be new to somebody at one time. Hey folks, welcome back once again. It's Harley Day Rider, your good old friend HDR, out here once again on the Road Glide Ultra. Look at the beautiful skies. It's one of those, the weather started getting rough. Not a tiny motorcycle was lost. Oh, if not for the courage of the Harley Day Rider, the Road Glide Ultra could be lost. There you go, I got it. Hey, welcome back everybody, and welcome to a Saturday afternoon here out on the Road Glide Ultra. I'm coming to you live and in living color today with a great topic. I was actually sitting at home watching outside thinking, man, this rain's got to stop for a little while. HDR has a little topic he wants to get out there to everybody. And this actually stems from what I was working on this morning when I got up at 5 a.m. So what I started working on was, as the title was giving it away many times, is our summer motorcycle vacation trip. Look how dark those clouds. Can you see those clouds? Wow. So today's topic is going to be motorcycle trip planning. What goes into motorcycle trip planning? This will be our third year in a row that we have been on a motorcycle trip, myself and Mrs. HDR. If you remember the first time, we went with Ray and his lovely wife Pam, and we went all the way out to Wyoming. So it was a wonderful trip. But last year we went with no one. It was just the two of us, and that was a wonderful trip. This year we're going to be taking, we're going to be co-riding with another great moto vlogger, Bodine 52, and his lovely, beautiful wife, Mrs. Bodine. We're actually meeting them for dinner tonight to go over the trip topics and some trip plans. Clouds do look kind of pretty. I don't know if the camera's catching that or not, just how those rolling clouds are out there. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about trip planning. Now, the first thing I want to touch base on, since we have gone with couples before, and we have gone alone, Bodine asked me, I think it was a couple weeks ago, we were talking on the phone, and he said, do you find that is it better with another couple, or is it better alone? Well, let's put it this way. There's differences between the both styles of riding. If you go with another couple, such as this year, and one of the reasons for a few of our meetings we've been having, or a few of our dinner conversations, is that you want to make sure that both parties can see things they want to see. Because me and Mrs. HDR, when we went by ourselves last year, we were going from, when we were going from Memphis to Sandusky, Ohio, she said on a whim, hey, let's, we're going to be pretty close. Let's go through St. Louis and go see the St. Louis Arch. And I said, that's fine. I pointed the bike into the wind, I cracked the throttle, and away we went. We set the GPS for a heading, and we took off. So, when you go by yourself, you have that freedom of pure decision, right? When you go with another couple, you want to make sure that both parties want to see things. And I'm sure Mr. and Mrs. Bodine are going to have things that they, probably want to see. I know that Mr. Bodine travels a lot, and he sees a lot of things out there. So I'm really not giving away our destination just yet until, at least until after tonight's meeting, and we start drawing down the exact spots that we're determining on going to. So what's the difference between a motorcycle planning trip and a car or cage planning trip? We go every year to South Carolina to see my brother-in-law, and we go from our house to his house. We stop along the way to get gas and to eat lunch. That's about it. When you're planning a motorcycle trip, you never plan from point A to point B, because you got to be very careful when you're looking at your map what might be along the line that you want to see. What stop or attraction or tourism place you want to see when you're going and riding. And when I was mapping it out this morning, I mapped out the one area to another area. And I thought, well, that's not bad. It's whatever it was, say 250 miles. But then when Mrs. HDR looked at it, she's like, well, wait, I want to stop at this place, and I'd like to stop at that place. And I said, well, that's cool. I mean, that sounds like fun. I mean, I think that would be a good time. So when I added those areas in, and I took us off the main beltways, the main highways, or the main roadways, what happened was I added mileage. I added mileage to that day. So that's something you have to worry about when you're trip planning. Now, I do suggest to use... I use Harley, the Harley Trip Planner, and I said before, anybody can use that. You can have a Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki. It's absolutely free. You don't have to have a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. And what's nice about that is, I guess Google Maps lets you do it too, but you can create what they call waypoints. You can change your routes. You can put a base route in there and look at it and be like, I don't want to do that. Let's go this way. Let's do that way. I did set it for the first day of no highways. So, avoid all highways. So that's very important stuff to accomplish, first of all. So, you could be like that movie, The Wild Hogs, and you just kind of point your bike one way and be like, hey, we're going to the West Coast. And just take off and head out to the West Coast, right? And they did pretty well. They seen a lot of cool things. The next thing Mr. Bodine asked me, we were talking last night, he said, hey, maybe we should book a couple of hotels if we know we're going to be at point X that day. Now, here's the problem when you book a hotel before a motorcycle trip. First, let's say you're on a motorcycle trip. Maybe not so much pre-booking. Okay, that could be a possibility. But what myself and Mrs. HDR has found out many times over is you may not hit that spot. All right. Last year we knew we went from here to Bristol, Tennessee. We went from our house to Bristol, Tennessee. We didn't book a hotel previously, and you never book a hotel like the day of. Say we wake up and we're saying, well, we're going to go to Nashville from Bristol, Tennessee, and we book a hotel that morning. There's no really cancellation routes on that. So what happens is you tend to lose your money. So... wow, that truck was burning some brakes. Wow. Boy, that stinks. Anyway, so what happens at that point is you don't want to take a chance of losing money. So we usually book when we're no more than, we've been 5 miles from a hotel. We'll pull off at exit and say, hey, we're going to be staying here for the night. Mrs. HDR gets out her phone. She has like 6 different booking apps she goes through and finds the best price. Bada boom, bada bing, right? And we're booked at the Choice Hotels or wherever. So we're booked up then, and that works out extremely well for us. You always find a place to stay. So those are a couple of the things that you really got to think about. The next thing you got to think about, we were talking to a couple of the other. Where were we? We were at a hog meeting. Myself, Mrs. HDR, Mr. Bodine, and Mrs. Bodine. So we're at the hog meeting. And we came out, we're talking to the chapter president of that particular organization, and he was saying something about a trailer. And many of you know my friend Jim. He wants me to buy his hitch and get a trailer. And you don't want to do that. And the reason, well, he said, and I didn't realize this. First of all, I guess it cuts your gas mileage. When you're pulling a trailer around, you're going to lose gas mileage. And there's really... if you're going away for 2 weeks, now if you're going away for 6 months, maybe you need some more clothes than 2 weeks worth. But most hotels have laundromats, so you can do up some clothes. You don't have to have a ton of clothing with you. Besides that, it's just going to weigh the bike down anyway. And I know the missus always thinks that, oh man, I want to take 12 pairs of shoes. You don't need them. You need your boots and tennis shoes. Maybe a pair of flip-flops, so you don't look silly at the pool with your boots on. So think of that picture, huh? I actually have a picture. No, I'm not going to show you that picture. I do have a picture of me with swimming trunks on and boots, but I don't have a shirt on, and I'm kind of embarrassed, so I won't show you that picture. See, I'm going to save everybody out there in YouTube land. So yeah, tonight's our dinner. We're going to go up there and meet Bodine and Mrs. Bodine, and we're going to sit down and... this morning I actually mapped out the first day. I got the first day mapped out. And then I knew the second day Mrs. HDR wanted to see a bunch of stuff. And obviously at 5 in the morning she was in bed, and well, I was working on the computer, and I couldn't remember exactly where she was telling me we're going, but I think we got the second day worked out, but not mapped yet. So, and I think the main reason we map is to have a plan, because there's a lot of times, how you like that, Luke? Look, there's those cars that we just passed when I started the video. But yeah, so when you map it out, I wonder how bad this road is down here. Let me see if I can find it. And I think this is actually it, huh? Yep, this is it. Whoa, that's a big hole. A lot of gravel there too. But the just because you map it out doesn't mean you gotta stick with the map. I mean, that's the mapping is it's a waypoint. That's it. You want to go that way, you know, and figure out where you're heading. It also allows you to the point where, you know, we are very diligent with keeping our days under 400 miles. And looking at that, the second day, Mrs. HDR, a lot of back road riding. She goes, well, look, it's only going to be 392 miles. I said, yeah, hon, but by the time we stop off and do the tourist stuff that you want to stop at, you know, you're going to add, you know, maybe 2 hours at least, maybe 3 hours to each stop. And you're going to run up the time is what you're going to do. I thought I heard a dog coming down here. I guess not. Here's your tip of the day, motorcycle tip of the day. If you hear a dog, or if you see a dog coming towards you, slow down a little bit, let him get a little close, and let him think he's going to be making it to the bike, and then crack the throttle. They say that it freaks the dog out to the point where the dog just says, heck with it, I'm not going to chase you. So anyway, with the clothing, just take enough clothing that you're going to need. We usually take 2 pairs of jeans. I normally take, I think, a week's worth, you know, 5 days worth of socks, underwear, T-shirts. You know, here's the big thing with T-shirts is, take a few, because what's going to happen is you're going to stop at different places. I don't care if you ride a Honda, a Yamaha, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Harley-Davidson, or Indian. You're going to find dealers along the route. You're going to buy yourself some more T-shirts. So take a couple. Don't fill the bag with T-shirts. And what else do we take? Like I said, we wear our boots, take our tennis shoes, and we take a pair of flip-flops. Take your swimming trunks. That's a definite need. They don't want to see you at the pool in your skivvies. That's for sure. And but everything on ours goes on the back. We bought that T-bone bag. I love that bag a lot. I'm glad I bought that some years ago. Straps right to the luggage rack, and we have 2 duffels that we put in the saddlebags, and that's it. Hit the road, man, and go. So, all right. So I hope I gave you some ideas, and I hope you're able to take a summer motorcycle trip this year. You know, it doesn't have to be a 2-week trip. This year, actually, ours will be cut back some, and I'll be talking about that in a future video. So we'll give you some of that later on down the road of why we had to cut it back. But it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So it's a very, very positive thing, and I like living a very positive lifestyle. I'm not that much of a negative guy. Love positivity. I mean, it could be a 4-day bike trip. You can go somewhere. Heck, we can go to Erie, you know, for 3 or 4 days and have a blast up there riding around. So, but if you plan it, use these tips I gave you. You know, book it out, plan it, look at your mileage. Think of your tourist stops, how many hours you're going to be visiting, you know. And you'll be just fine. And don't weigh the bike down. I seen one guy one year, man. I got a picture of it somewhere. If I can find it, I'm going to post it here. If not, then you just didn't see it. But I did take it with my phone. I should have it somewhere. Him and his wife was on, I think it was a touring bike. And had about, had a bag behind her on the luggage rack. It looked like it was 6 feet high. They could have had their refrigerator in there. I don't know. Maybe even their stove. So, crazy. Alright, everybody. Well, thanks for watching this video. I do enjoy your coming around and being here with me, riding along in this windy day, getting ready to storm again, but I wanted to get out here and chat to you a little bit. You know, even a short bike ride is better than no bike ride, that's what I always say. And I did wash her the other day and got all the bug guts off the front of her from that night ride coming home, so she's all cleaned up. I don't want to get her wet again right now. I don't want to get her wet at all, but I mean, that happens too, you know. Oh, that's one other trip thing. There you go. There's a big tip. Always pack your rain gear. We met a couple 4 years ago when myself and Ray was on a smaller bike trip. It was pouring. I mean, it looked like Niagara Falls coming on your head. And they said they were drenched, this older couple. And we were talking to him. He goes, well, the only thing we couldn't fit in the bike, you know, we have so much stuff on the bike we packed up, is we couldn't fit the rain suits. Those are on the top of our saddlebags. We keep them at the very top. You flip your lid up, take your suit out, and throw that baby on. So, wet, soggy riding is really not a lot of fun. Plus, you get cold. All right, everybody, enjoy your day. Thanks for watching once again. Ride your own ride. Be safe out there. And until next time, Harley Day Rider will be down and out in this dreary, overcast day here in southwestern Pennsylvania. Bye-bye for now, everybody.